Have you heard of Emma Stone's new movie, Bugonia? Her head is completely shaved, face painted white. She looks like she's the leader of some sort of underground doomsday cult. And it's hard to look away. The trailer was strong, didn't spoil too much of the plot, and judging by the comments and all the social media buzz, there was a genuine excitement for this movie. So, how did it end up on this list of the worst year-ending flops of 2025? Well, it's becoming clearer and clearer that no amount of star power or marketing can overcome something that has fundamentally broken in the Hollywood theater release business model. And every film on this list proves it. Ella McCay, when the Oscar-winning Simpsons co-creator returned after a decade, only to watch it perform so badly it got pulled from international markets before it even opened. Ella McCay starred Emma Mackey as a young lieutenant governor who unexpectedly becomes her state's governor and struggles to balance career ambitions with personal scandals. The supporting cast included Jamie Lee Curtis and Woody Harrelson. This was the first film in something like 15 years from James L. Brooks, the Oscar-winning filmmaker behind Terms of Endearment, Broadcast News, and As Good as It Gets. And he is also the co-creator of The Simpsons. 20th Century Studios gave the film a production budget of $35 million. And while this sounds like a reasonable amount that would make it easy to turn a decent profit, Brooks has a history of very bad box office flops. His 2010 romantic comedy, How Do You Know?, cost $120 million, and according to Wikipedia, only made back $48.7 million worldwide. His 2004 dramedy Spanglish cost $80 million and earned $55 million. But 20th Century Studios was betting that Brooks could recapture the magic of his earlier work. Industry projections had Ella McCay earning around $4 million in its opening weekend from 2,500 theaters. But the movie only opened to $2.1 million. That translated to an average of $840 per theater, one of the worst per-screen averages for any wide-release movies in 2025. For context, other movies screening that same weekend included Russell Crowe's political thriller Nuremberg, which opened to $3.88 million, and a faith-based film called Sarah's Oil, which opened to $4.26 million. And both of them managed to achieve those numbers from significantly smaller theater counts. The film also earned a 22% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes, making it the worst reviewed movie Brooks has ever made. And by the end of its theatrical run, Ella McCay had only earned approximately $5 million worldwide against its $35 million budget. This performance was so bad that the decision was made to pull the film from its scheduled January theatrical release date in France. At least his last flop from 2010 made it to international markets before flopping. This one did so badly, it wasn't even allowed to get on the plane. Brooks, the director who once made Jack Nicholson likable and made Helen Hunt an Oscar winner, couldn't make audiences care about a governor facing scandals in 2025, which was an election year. 20th Century Studios gave him $35 million and 3 years of development time. In return, they got a movie that earned back less than 15% of its production budget and became one of the studio's worst-performing wide releases of the decade. Springsteen Deliver Me From Nowhere, the Jeremy Allen White biopic where he did all his own singing, had Springsteen's blessing, and audiences responded by staying at home and streaming the album instead. Springsteen Deliver Me From Nowhere starred Jeremy Allen White as Bruce Springsteen during the creation of his 1982 album, Nebraska. The film focused on a specific chapter in Springsteen's career, chronicling his depression and creative struggle while recording what would become one of his most critically acclaimed but least commercially successful albums. However, Bruce Springsteen himself was actively involved in the production, along with his longtime manager, John Landau. Disney's 20th Century Studios gave the film a production budget of $55 million and released it in 3,460 theaters on October 24, 2025. This was the same release strategy the studio used for Complete Unknown, the Bob Dylan biopic from the previous year, which was also released towards the end of the year. It had a budget of $60 to $70 million and grossed $140.5 million worldwide. And the studio expected the Springsteen biopic to follow a similar trajectory. But at the time of recording this video, the film had only earned $22.6 million domestically and $22.6 million internationally, for a worldwide total of $45.2 million against that $55 million production budget I mentioned earlier. One massive problem the movie faced was that unlike crowd-pleasing music biopics like Bohemian Rhapsody or Rocketman, this one focused on a single, less commercially successful chapter in Springsteen's career that didn't feature any of his major hits. The film did, however, manage to boost interest in the original Nebraska album, especially since Springsteen's team released a Nebraska '82 Expanded Edition box set timed perfectly with the film's release. So, a $55 million biopic starring an Emmy winner who actually played the guitar and did his own singing, with Springsteen's blessing and active involvement, flopped at the box office while audiences streamed the Nebraska album from their couches instead. Marty Supreme, the Timothée Chalamet ping-pong movie that set A24's opening weekend record but is still on track to lose tens of millions of dollars. Marty Supreme starred Timothée Chalamet as Marty Mauser, a fictional table tennis champion loosely inspired by real-life player Marty Reisman. The film followed his journey of trying to claw his way to the top of the sport through fast-talking hubris and explosive skill in 1950s New York City. The supporting cast included Gwyneth Paltrow, Tyler the Creator, and even Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank. This was Josh Safdie's first film since Uncut Gems, a film he co-directed with his brother Benny, and earned approximately $50 million at the worldwide box office on its $19 million budget. The studio gave Marty Supreme a production budget of $70 million, the biggest budget in the studio's history. And they went all in on marketing. Chalamet posted a meta video of himself pitching increasingly ridiculous promotional ideas to A24's marketing team.
Marty Supreme, Christmas Day. I want to say that every so many times. If I go on Jimmy Fallon, I want to say Marty Supreme, Christmas Day. Marty Supreme, Christmas Day. Marty Supreme, Christmas Day. Hey, Timothy, has anything interesting happened to you in your life the last couple months? Marty Supreme, Christmas Day. I think I should be on thousands of Wheatie boxes. The Statue of Liberty. Orange.
Including flying a giant Marty Supreme blimp across the United States. And you know what? They actually did it. Chalamet also appeared on top of the Las Vegas Sphere and lit the Empire State Building orange before the New York premiere. And the film had its world premiere at the New York Film Festival in October. Critics gave it a 94% certified fresh score on Rotten Tomatoes, with many calling Chalamet's performance career-defining. The film opened with a limited release across just 6 theaters in Los Angeles and New York in December, earning $145,933 per theater. That set a record for the best per-screen average of the year and the highest ever for A24. It earned $9.5 million on Christmas Day alone, beating its Christmas Eve preview number of $2.01 million. That was also higher than Chalamet's previous Christmas release, which was his Bob Dylan biopic. And by early January, when this video was recorded, Marty Supreme had earned a worldwide total of $58 million globally. At this point, you're probably thinking all of that sounds great, so why exactly is this movie on this list? Here is the answer in 2 words: bloated budget. At $70 million to produce, the film needs to earn somewhere between $175 and $200 million worldwide to break even after marketing costs and theater cuts are accounted for. And there's a very good chance the marketing budget alone probably cost more than the entire budget for Safdie's last movie, Uncut Gems. They flew blimps, lit up buildings, put Chalamet on top of the Sphere in Las Vegas, and created the kind of campaign usually reserved for superhero movies. And it worked. Well, sort of. The film broke their own opening weekend record, earned rave reviews, and even got audiences to show up on Christmas Day. But A24 spent a decade building a brand on prestige indie films that cost under $20 million and earning back several multiples of its budget. That was their tried and tested business model, and it was largely successful. But then they decided to give Josh Safdie $70 million to make a ping-pong movie and let Timothée Chalamet run wild with the marketing budget, only to discover that bigger budgets need even bigger audiences, and 1950s New York ping pong might not be the best subject matter to get the massive audience needed for a movie with such a bloated budget. Bugonia. Emma Stone actually shaved her head. New York loved it. LA loved it, but everyone else stayed home. Bugonia starred Emma Stone as Michelle Fuller, a powerful pharmaceutical CEO who gets kidnapped by two conspiracy theorists who believe she's an alien planning to destroy Earth. The cast also included Jesse Plemons and Alicia Silverstone, and the film was an English-language remake of the 2003 South Korean cult film Save the Green Planet. On paper, Bugonia looked bulletproof because Stone and Lanthimos were just coming off Poor Things, which earned 4 Oscars, including Best Actress for Stone, and grossed $117.6 million worldwide on a $35 million budget. Before that, The Favorite made $96 million on a $15 million budget and earned 10 Oscar nominations. Their third collaboration, Kinds of Kindness, was a smaller film but still turned a profit on its production budget. This was their 4th time working together, and Focus Features was so confident they gave Lanthimos his biggest budget ever, somewhere between $45 to $55 million. And Focus Features went all in on marketing, even creating head-shaving events where fans got their head shaved for free. The film had a limited October release opening in 17 select theaters across New York and Los Angeles, earning $709,848. That translated to a per-theater average of $41,755, the 5th highest of the year. Both Stone and Plemons received nominations at the 83rd Golden Globes for their performances in Bugonia. And everything was lining up for this movie to be a hit just like their last 3 movies. So, with things looking good, what did the studio do? Well, they expanded the film to 2,043 theaters in its second weekend. And that was when the numbers started to plummet. Because the new theaters across the country didn't come with the same level of enthusiasm and high audience numbers of New York and LA. Because the coastal cities that drove the limited release numbers were not representative, and what was popular in New York and Los Angeles completely failed everywhere else. And all its online buzz didn't really translate to places outside of the major cities. And at the time of recording this video, Bugonia had only earned a worldwide total of $40.3 million, according to Wikipedia. The film is currently projected to finish its theatrical run somewhere between $43 to $45 million worldwide, against its $45 to $55 million production budget. But after marketing costs and theater cuts, the film would need to earn somewhere between $112 and $165 million just to break even. So the reality is that Focus Features is looking at losses of tens of millions of dollars. So a Venice premiere, Golden Globe nominations, a good Rotten Tomato score, the 4th collaboration between a duo that have a track record of nothing but commercial hits, all resulted in a film that is on track to lose tens of millions of dollars. Proving that 3 commercial hits doesn't guarantee a 4th, especially if middle America and international markets aren't interested.